Hello and welcome to episode 89 entitled The First Touch Means So Much. My name is Gary Verheller and I'll be your host for what we call the Substance of Living podcast. Today we'll look at what we call life's lessons. And I hope this will provide you with some insight, maybe even some inspiration to life's challenges. The first touch means so much. What does that mean? This I learned from my brother. My brother was a critical care nurse, ER nurse, intensive care nurse, and also cardiology nurse. And most of his time was doing triage in the ER, determining which patients need to go first, second, based upon the severity of their injuries. And he taught me that the first touch means so much. I said, well, what are you talking about? And he gave me an example. He gave me an example of a biker, one of these great big guys, beard and Harley rider. And the guy came in, he was in a really bad motorcycle accident. And they wheeled him in on the gurney. And my brother, Bruce said, "We're going to take care of you. It'll be all right." He said when he touched that guy's forearm, that's a big, tough guy. When he touched that guy's forearm, he said he could see the shoulders drop, the tension just released from his body. The first touch means so much. Why? Because the human beings, our species is a tactile species. We need touch. There's been studies done in developmental psychology with children who were not abused, but they were not touched as they were growing up, being babies, from baby into 5 or 6 years old, and their growth was stunted because they were not touched. They were not caressed, they were not held, they were not hugged. They weren't touched. There's been countless studies on that. We need touch in our life. And you can see this throughout the day. If you go to daycare centers, you could see kids holding on to each other's hands or hugging each other. You can see kids in that daycare center holding on to the leg of the attendant, man or woman. In kindergarten, same thing. You can see kids holding on to each other's hands or arm in arm, walking with each other, playing with each other. And you can see it in the emergency room, as I mentioned. Now, with COVID, we've been having a tough time. COVID has had a negative impact when it comes to touch. We found a way, though. We fist bump, we elbow bump. And if you're lucky enough to have a significant other that you live with, you get to hug each other, cuddle, be with each other, touch each other. It's important. The first touch means so much. The first touch of the day means so much. The last touch of the day, when you say goodnight to your significant other, that means a lot. Not just to your physical well-being, but to your emotional and intellectual well-being. It's also important to realize, because we are tactile, it's important to include exercise in this idea. Because in this way, you are sensing the world through running or bicycling or swimming, weightlifting. You are in touch with your body, physically and mentally, and that's a good thing. Go outside. It's been proven that the microbes that are outside in nature are actually, many microbes are actually healthy for you. And you benefit by going out into the great outdoors. Let the sun touch you. Let the wind touch you. Feel life all around you. the first touch means so much. Realize you're a tactile species and enjoy that, because it does make a difference in quality of life. Thank you. Bye. Thank you for joining us today for the Substance of Living podcast. If you'd be kind enough to consider subscribing, you can contact us through Spotify or Apple Podcasts or connect on Twitter. Join us again next time for what I hope will help you navigate life.